When you ask people about project portfolio management, they tend to have differing opinions about how it should be done and how it is done. Some see it as a basic capital budgeting problem and focus on payback periods and profitability indices. Others see it as a strategy problem, and they focus on the complex interdependencies among the various projects. Others merely see it as a political issue where the high-level stakeholders lobby to have their favorite projects funded and ignore everything else. Unfortunately, when you try to reconcile all three of these factors, the overall decision process can be very time-consuming, and the final result is often far from optimal. Fortunately, there's a better way. In order to help our clients make their project portfolio management processes faster and more effective, the InnovaNet team has developed an Excel-based model that can be used to solve general PPM problems. Consider this simple example. Here we have a portfolio of 10 potential projects. Each project has certain costs and benefits and resource requirements. There are also precedence constraints among projects. For example, projects A and B have to be executed before project C can be executed. There are also mutual exclusivity constraints. For example, you can execute either project C or project D, or neither, but you can't execute both. Taking all that into account, the question is then which projects you should execute and in which order without exceeding any limits on financial or human resources. Consider this example. Suppose a manufacturing company has a list of candidate projects, and they'd like to know which subset of projects to do and in which order, such that the overall net present value is maximized and the overall production capacity is maximized. In choosing the subset of projects that offer the best results, the company must also respect all the constraints, which include precedence constraints, budget constraints, resource constraints, and mutual exclusivity constraints, as well as political constraints requiring that certain projects be executed and others not be executed. If the portfolio contains only a handful of projects, then the problem can easily be solved by hand. However, when the portfolio contains dozens of projects and constraints, the problem gets very complicated very quickly, and it can be difficult to find even a decent solution by hand, let alone an optimal solution. Rather than decision makers spending days debating a difficult PPM problem, our model can solve it in minutes. If you'd like to get a copy of the model that's configured to solve your particular PPM problem, please contact InnovaNet.